Did you know that the German verb machen is a superverb? Not really. I'll explain. What does machen mean? Machen usually means to make or to do. For example, was machst du heute? What are you going to do today? Ich mach das. I'll do that. Ich mache das Mittagessen. I'm making lunch. Etc., etc. Great. But many years ago, when I was first learning German, someone pointed out to me that the verb machen can be used as a bit of like a crutch. If you can't remember a verb, or if you haven't learned a verb yet, you can substitute in machen. And a good percentage of the time, I don't know, 40, 50, 60% maybe, it'll work. It might not be perfectly elegant or correct German, but your meaning will be understood. Let's look at some examples. What I want to say is, I would like to write an email to my girlfriend. Okay. Ich möchte meiner Freundin eine E-Mail. I can't remember the verb for to write. What is it? I don't know. Of course, we know that the verb for to write is schreiben. It's related to the English word scribe, which is a bit old-fashioned, but it means someone who writes stuff down. It's also more distantly related to the word scribble in English. If you're scribbling notes in a notebook, you are engaging in schreiben, to write. But let's say we don't know that verb yet. What do? Well, you can substitute it in machen. It's not correct, technically, but your meaning will be understood. Ich möchte meiner Freundin eine E-Mail machen. I want to make an email to my girlfriend. Well, that's wrong, but it's obvious what you meant to say there. Or how about this? You're working in a lab with a bunch of scientists and you want to say, we have to develop a prototype. Wir müssen einen Prototyp. I don't know the verb for that. Of course, we know the verb for develop in that context would be entwickeln. But that's not a terribly common German verb. Maybe we haven't learned that one yet. So how about this? Wir müssen einen Prototyp machen. We have to make a prototype. You know what? That works. It makes sense. It's maybe not the most eloquent way I could have phrased that, as opposed to using a more specific verb, but it works. Now, of course, this doesn't always work. You'll come across many sentences where this simply falls apart. For example, I'm going to drive to the shopping center. Ich werde zum Einkaufszentrum. And I can't remember the verb for to drive. I hope you guys know that one. It's in the title of this YouTube channel. It's fahren. Ich werde zum Einkaufszentrum fahren is what I want to say, but I can't remember the verb for fahren, so I try. Ich werde zum Einkaufszentrum machen. Well, no, that doesn't make sense. I want to make to the shopping center. So, it doesn't always work, but a good percentage of the time, you can substitute in machen for some other verb in German, and your sentence will still at least kind of make sense. This is a crutch. This is a crutch you can use when you're just getting up on your feet in the language. But like most crutches, you don't want to be leaning on this for any longer than you absolutely have to. You want to get off that crutch as soon as you can. The name of the game should be to expand your vocabulary and actually learn these verbs so you can speak properly. But until you get to that point, you can kind of lean on this crutch. It's kind of a neat little trick that you can do this with the verb machen in German. Now, while we're on the subject of machen, let's look at some of the many verb prefixes you can stick on machen to modify its meaning. The Germans love doing this with their verbs, and machen it's got to be one of the best examples of this, because my God, there's a bunch of them. Now, a lot of these, keeping in mind that machen usually means to make or to do, a lot of these verb prefixes are going to be very unsurprising. They're exactly what they sound like. For example, anmachen. An means on. So, ich mache die Lampe an. I'm making the lamp on. You wouldn't say that in English. In English, you'd say turning or switching. I'm switching the lamp on. I'm turning the lamp on. Great. In German, we accomplish this with anmachen. Now, we have to be a little bit careful with this one because my understanding is there's a double meaning on this one. Actually, even in English, if you say I'm turning something on, like a lamp or a computer or a light switch or a laptop or whatever, perfectly innocent meaning. But if you say I'm turning someone on, it means something else entirely. Similar thing happens in German with anmachen. If you say etwas anmachen, it just means to switch it on. But if you say jemanden anmachen, it's like you're saying turn someone on. I think it means something like to hit on someone or to make a pass at someone. How about bereit machen? Bereit means ready. So to make something ready, yep, this is the verb for to prepare something. Great. How about bewusst machen? Bewusst is conscious. So to make conscious, what does that mean? Bewusst machen is to make someone aware of something. Great. How about bekannt machen? Bekannt is known. So to make something known, yep, exactly what it sounds like. This is the verb for to publicize or to announce something. Wir machen das morgen bekannt. We're going to announce that tomorrow. Easy. We've got fertig machen, to make something finished. That's like to beat somebody up. You've got sauber machen. Sauber means clean, so to make something clean, yep, exactly what it sounds like. No surprises. But some of these can be a little bit unexpected. For example, blau machen. What do you think that means? Blau means blue. So we're going to make something blue. It sounds like you're saying we're going to paint something, maybe? Nope, it's not at all what you would expect. Blau machen is to play hooky, or to skip work or school. I don't really know where blau machen comes from, or why they say it that way. I guess it's just a folksy figure of speech. In English, you can say hooky, playing hooky. That's an old one. Or skipping, or cutting class, cutting work. In German, that's blau machen for whatever reason. We also have vermachen. What is vermachen? Vermachen in German is perhaps not intuitive, but it means to bequeath something to someone. And then we have complex words like ausmachen. What does ausmachen mean? Well, that's a trick question because it has a bunch of meanings. Some of them are related to the equivalent meaning in English. For example, if you think of aus as meaning out, then literally we're saying make out. What does make something out mean in English? If you're on a ship and it's a bit foggy and your captain says, "What do you see?" You look through the fog and you can say something like, "Oh, I can just make it out in the fog. There's another ship out there." To make it out in the context of like to recognize or to be able to see something is ausmachen in German. But ausmachen can also mean to constitute something. This also relates to English. In English, you can say that something is made out of something. This house is made out of wood. Made out of in German can be ausmachen. But ausmachen has a bunch of other meanings as well that I don't think tie back to English. For example, to stipulate something, or to conclude something, or to locate something. There's a bunch of these. We also, in German, have gut machen. Gut, of course, means good. What is to make good? Well, we have that in English. It's a bit old-fashioned, but you can say to make good is like to make amends for something. I'm going to make good for that. That's an older expression. I haven't heard that in a long time, but it does kind of relate to English. In German, we also have mitmachen. Mit means with. So to make with, well, that means to participate. Remember that machen can also translate as do. So I want to do something with you. That's ich möchte mitmachen. I would like to participate. Great. How about vormachen? We covered this one when we covered in the episode we did on the German verb prefix vor. Vor means before, not in the time sense, but rather in the spatial sense, like before someone in their presence. Vormachen means to do something in someone's presence, literally before someone. I'll do this before you. It means to demonstrate. I'm going to show you how this works by doing this before you. Not before you in the sense of time, but like, bug on my hand. But before you in the sense of like, in front of you. I'm going to do this in front of you so that you can see how it works. How about weitermachen? Weiter means further. So weitermachen means to proceed. This can also be used as a command, like in a military context, weitermachen. As you were. Like go back to whatever it was you were just doing and proceed with it. How about abmachen? This doesn't tie back to anything in English that I can think of, but abmachen is to settle something, or to, like you can say einen Termin abmachen, oder ein Treffen abmachen, to set or settle an appointment or a meeting. In German, you can use this as a standalone statement. You can just say abgemacht. That would, in English, the equivalent would be something like saying, so it's settled then. Last but not least, we have aufmachen und zumachen. These are very, very common German words for to open and to close, respectively. Ich mache die Tür auf. I'm opening the door. Ich mache das Fenster auf. I'm opening the window. You can also use this like mach die Augen auf. Open your eyes. Zumachen is the equivalent for close. Ich mache die Tür zu. You can also, weirdly, kind of contract this to just zu. You can say die Tür ist zu. The door is closed. I think that's a shortening of die Tür ist zugemacht. The door has been closed. In fact, in German, sometimes you'll see a sign on a door that says Tür zu. What that means is this door should be kept closed when not in use. It's a very common thing to abbreviate zumachen in German to just zu, closed. Where am I? Oh, I know where I am, and I need to turn around because I'm in the wrong place. So there you go. Maybe not a super verb, but certainly a very versatile verb with a lot of different meanings and a lot of different possible prefixes that can alter those meanings. And, as we covered at the beginning of this episode, you can use the verb machen as a bit of a crutch when you're just learning German. Try not to lean on it too much, but it's handy to know that you can swap in machen for other verbs in German, and it'll work a good percentage of the time. Maybe not all the time, but often enough that it's helpful to know this. So that'll do it for today. We will see you next time on Lernen und Machen.